You'll flip over the cartwheel motif. Just 5 easy crochet rounds make this motif a delight to make. Featuring a 3-wrap bobble stitch, the first 3 rounds create the circle. The 4th round turns the circle into a square, and the 5th and final round borders the design and makes it super easy to assemble the motifs into a useful item. You're going to start with a slip knot, about 4 inches from the end. Then you're going to use both strands together to crochet 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. What that does is it does an automatic weave in of the end. So now you're going to return to the very first chain, insert your hook in there, making sure that you get enough strands, and you're going to slip stitch, and that forms a ring. Now chain 1 tightly, then pull the loop up so it's lengthened to about the height of a bobble. That's important because on your first bobble you're going to yarn over your hook, insert your hook into the ring, pull up a loop. Now you have 3 on the hook, yarn over and repeat that. Now you have 5 on the hook, yarn over, insert, and pull up a loop. This is a triple wrap bobble, and it makes a nice fluffy stitch. You're going to chain 1. That locks the top of the bobble in nice and neat. Okay, we're going to repeat this 7 more times to go around all of them into the ring. Now it's going to get tight, so we'll be pulling on it a little bit. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. Note how I'm lengthening this loop so that the bobble is nice and fluffy. Pull the loop through and then chain 1 to lock it down. Let's do the third one. Yarn over, insert a hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. You do it 3 times. Triple wrap. Chain 1 to lock it down. Now we're going to, as I said, we're going to do 8 of these all together into this ring. And as you can see, it's getting a little bit tight, so we just keep working. Now, after you've done a few, you may want to just pull it down so that you make a little more room for the last 3. To end this round, what you want to do is jump over to the chain 1 at the top of the first bobble, insert your hook under both loops, and complete a slip stitch. To start round 2, notice how the chain is coming out of the top of the bobble. You actually want to start so that that working loop is over a space. So what we're going to do is we're going to insert our hook into the next space and slip stitch. Do you see how that recenters the chain, the working loop on the hook over the space? Okay, at this point we're going to lengthen the loop on the hook so it's the height of a bobble, yarn over, and you're going to do the bobbles the same way as before, where you do 3 wraps. Now you have 7 loops on the hook, yarn over, and pull through all 7. Then chain 1 to lock it down. But instead of putting 1 in each of the spaces, what we're going to do is we're going to put 2 bobbles in each of the spaces. So let's do the second one in this space. Chain 1 to lock it down, then 2 more into the next space. See how you have 2 in each space, and you're going to continue all the way around. I'll meet you when we get to this end. Now, just as we did on the first round, we're going to jump over to the chain 1 that is at the top of the first bobble in the round, insert our hook under both loops, pull up a loop into a slip stitch. At this point, we can cut our yarn. If you have difficulty distinguishing between the right side of your crocheting and the back side of your crocheting, here's a little hint. Take a little stitch marker and mark the front side right after you finish doing that piece. Now, when you return to this piece, you'll know that this is the side that needs to face you. We're going to attach our yarn in a different way on this round. It makes the bobble stand out so perfectly without extra bulk. So this is how you're going to do it. You're going to hold your yarn to the back, just a loose piece of yarn, giving yourself enough of a yarn tail. We'll weave that end in later. Then you're going to just insert your hook under the loop. So you're just holding, if you look at it from the back, you're just holding the loop over the hook. Now, we're going to, consider that our working loop. Now we're going to insert our hook through the front to the back of any of the spaces, and I'm going to make sure that I come up on the right hand to the right of that thread. And the reason I'm doing that is because when I pick up my yarn, it crosses over it and locks that piece down. So that's my first wrap. Here's my second wrap. Here's my third wrap, because remember, this is a bobble. And see how the end is kind of underneath these on the back? Can you see that? Okay. So now we have 6 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through all 6. But that's because we didn't have a working loop. Then we're going to chain 1. Now, we've chained 1 to lock it down. We're going to chain a second chain to space it, because we're going to only put 1 bobble in each of the spaces. So yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, do that 3 times like a regular bobble, yarn over and pull through all 7. Chain 1, then chain a second one to space it. The next bobble goes into the next space, and you're going to go around this entire round. We're at the very last space, so we're going to work our bobble just as before. Chain 2 and jump over to the very first bobble and slip stitch under that top chain. And that is round 3. Clip our yarn and pull it through. Now, I dare you, if you didn't see that end there, I dare you to say, which one was the starting one? They're all identical. Isn't that neat? We're ready to start our row 4, but I first wanted to show you our row 4 on another square, because you can see how I'm using different stitches to create the corners. This is what's important about this round. Insert your hook in any of the spaces and pull up a loop. You want to leave about 3 to 4 inches of yarn tail, and with both ends you're going to chain 1. Because it's a little thicker, I'm going to count this stitch as a single crochet. I'm laying my end out along the side of the piece, and I'm going to work 2 more single crochets in the space. Okay, now in the next space I'm going to work 3 half double crochets. If you don't know how to do half double crochet, you yarn over, you insert your hook just like you're going to do a double crochet, you pull up a loop, so you have 3 loops on hook. But instead of pulling through 2 and pulling through 2 like as in a double crochet, you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. So let's do a third one. 3 half double crochets in that space. Now we're going to do 3 double crochets in the next space. That's our first double crochet. How you do a double crochet is you yarn over, insert your hook and pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on hook. Now you yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. That completes the second double crochet. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That completes the third double crochet. But because this is a corner and we need to turn it, we're then going to work a corner space by chaining 2. Then we're going to go back to the very same space and work 3 more double crochets. That's the first double crochet. Here's the second double crochet. And here's the third double crochet. Now see how that corner has turned? Very nice and neat. Now, in the next space, we're going to work 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Then in the very next space we need, since we're at the center of a side, we need something skinnier. So we're doing single crochets. 1 single crochet, a second single crochet, and a third single crochet. Isn't that neat? Now you've just done 1 full side. So in the next space, yes, you're right, 3 half double crochets, the next one, 3 double crochets, chain 2 to form the corner space, and then 3 more double crochets in the very same space. In the next space, 3 half double crochets, in the next space, we're back to the center of the side, 1, 2, 3 single crochets. So now we've just done 2 corners, and we're going to repeat this going around all the way to the end. Now, you're going to go back to that top of that first chain, and you're going to pick up both those loops. It's a little bit tight, but I'm going to get my hook in there because I want to make this a really neat little finish and slip stitch into it. And, of course, cut my yarn in any space. You can insert your hook and start. I'm going to pull up a loop, and I'm going to chain 3 using both strands of yarn. When I get to the third chain, I'm going to pull it out like so and let that dangle. I'll finish weaving that part in later, but I've already got it pretty well firmly attached. So I'm going to then do another double crochet into that same space and then a chain 1. In each of the side spaces, I'm going to work 2 double crochets, and a chain 1. Isn't that easy? And what you're doing is you're finding your 3 stitches, the groupings of the 3 stitches, and inserting your hook between them. So here's another place where I inserted 2 double crochets and a chain 1. The chain 1 creates a space over the block or the grouping of stitches. Here's our next space. double crochet, double crochet, chain 1. When you get to a corner, you're going to treat it in a similar way. You're going to do 2 double crochets, now that completes this side. You're going to do a chain 2 for the corner space, and then you're going to go into the very same space again and work 2 more double crochets. That starts the groupings on the next side, and a chain 1. And we're going to go over one more. 1 double crochet, a second double crochet, and a chain 1. That's it. That's how simple that is. When you, along the sides, you do 2 double crochets in the space between the groupings of 3 stitches. In the corner space, you do 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets and a chain 1, and continue down the other side. I'll meet you when we get back here. We've made it around the corner, and we're just putting our chain 1 in there, and then we're going to the top of the first chain up at the beginning of the round and inserting our hook in that top chain and slip stitching. Here's our finished cartwheel motif. Isn't it just adorable? I hope you enjoyed how to crochet the cartwheel motif. Please click on my picture to subscribe to my Twisted Yarns channel and ring the bell to receive notifications of newly released videos. Happy crocheting!